It says we're live.
Yeah, it lies.
Come on,
We've
pictures. There we
got
go.
a house full today.
Yes.
As always, brought to you by King Harvest Coffees. Say sorry that the old boy died and tell him you heard about it here.
Yep. And we have something to advertise. Cedar's new book.
You should tell
And
them
she's
about how you
here.
created this too.
Yes. I'm sorry, John.
You should tell them about how this came to be.
So this is a very experimental project. The conceit that I have is that I have received the sketchbook of a fairy who specializes in treehouse architecture. And what it actually was me having an absolutely madcap 4 or 5 days on Midjourney generating tree houses in such a way that I could render them in black and white. So it can double as an adult coloring book, but really it was just for fun and pretty, and for me to make snarky comments about architecture. And
Also, it
choosing
got
to put
orange
up.
tag.
Yes, it did get an orange tag. So the ebook
Well
is available for pre-order, and the paperback is obviously
Show more
out
pictures.
now.
Don't
So-
just look at it, show pictures.
I'm having a bad day. Leave me alone.
Yeah, the backs of the pages are blank so that they can be removed for coloring or hanging up. I find that that's something that they really
Happy.
like.
And we can tell who's grouchy today.
I've had 2 bad experiences today. I'm just not a happy person.
He's been in a mood since they walked in a couple hours ago.
Well, I bought new shoes today. And so, well,
every time.
since I'm 18, I've had my blood marker on my shoes. What my blood type is has been in my shoes since I was 18. And I decided, what the hell, I don't need it, and didn't put it in my brand new shoes this time, and it's really geeking me out.
Yes.
Oh, all right, Dawn. That's good news.
Who, what way?
On our way to Mom's with sirloin.
Ooh.
And the other thing is I had a throwaway post, and I hate it when I do this. I had a throwaway post on methane hydrate and pipelines to the Baltic Sea, and how methane hydrate, especially hydrate plugs, are A, very bad, and B, the Russians suck at resolving hydrate plugs. And a little brief investigation, Nord 1 and 2 are probably chock full of hydrate, methane hydrates, period, full stop. If they're not, somebody needs to buy lottery tickets, because both of them are full of hundreds of millions of cubic meters of gas that's been sitting there for months, if not years.
They were. Not anymore.
Well, no, that's the issue. And methane hydrate at the bottom of the Baltic meets the temperature and pressure gradient for forming, or methane at the bottom of the Baltic is perfect conditions for forming methane hydrate. Only thing needed is water vapor.
Which it gets.
Yeah.
From the sweating of the pipe.
And gas companies, even Gazprom, yeah, ladies are here, I won't do that. Even Gazprom runs natural gas through dry media that extracts water and generally shoots glycol or methanol into the stream as it's traveling. But this predicates that the gas is going to move.
Mm-hmm.
Nord Stream 1 got shut down due to sanctions after the Russians invaded Ukraine. It's been sitting there full of natural gas for months. Nord Stream 2
has never been fired up.
Was charged with 102 millibars of 300 million cubic meters of natural gas in July of 2021, which has never moved. Friend of mine, petrochemical engineer, read my post and sent me an email and said, "Are you serious? Nord 2 is one giant hairy fucking snowball from end to end."
Yep.
Yeah, it's full of methane hydrates. And methane hydrates, you're screwed. I mean, if you've got one hydrate plug, you've got multiple ones. And if you don't take care of those properly, and the Russians don't, you're going to lose your pipeline. I mean, that's it.
The proper way to do it is to run what's called a pig down the line.
That's assuming you've got an open line to run it down.
Well,
Well,
okay.
you can run it down a quote unquote frozen line,
Mhm.
but you gradually increase the pressure until you get movement.
Yeah. Well,
Now, in the oil business, they run plugs routinely. That's how they clear
Yes.
out the path.
Oh, yeah,
the
but they're doing
paraffin.
hundreds of miles an hour. They're going really fast.
No, they don't. They
they're
don't
not
run it
supposed
that
to.
fast.
If you run at 100 miles, if you run a pig 100 miles an hour, if you have any sort of methane hydrate built up, you'll snowplow into a plug.
Yeah.
And not only that, but your plug now has a pig stuck in it.
Yeah.
So you overachieving little
So
snowflake,
you have a pig in the plug.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
The best way to do it, and differs, we'll discuss this. The best way to do it is you depressurize both ends.
Yeah.
And once you reach ambient air pressurization, heat will transfer from the environment through the pipe to the methane, and it'll start radially melting.
Yep.
And then you very gently move it with pressure. However, both sides have to monitor this, because if one side gets a little pressure, more pressure than the other, or there's any other issues, what happens is, especially if you do like the Russians are fond of doing, because they're fucking idiots, is you depressurize one side. You did. You
Well, that wasn't the
depressurize
first one.
one side. When those idiots depressurize one side, the heat transfer still happens, and the plug melts, and then suddenly pops loose, and the pressurized upstream or downstream side sends 200 pounds of water ice equivalent density down the pipe at almost 200 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, 180 is the max I know of. And then when there's a bend or a kink, it doesn't stop. It goes through. And then you get what your local Nigerian does is he slaps the valve shut on the closest upstream valve to stop it. And then your 200-mile-an-hour chunk of ice does what we call the diesel effect.
Mhm.
Better known as a water hammer, except it's not water.
Well, you've got this plug, and when you stop it, water hammer is your best thing, and it blows out the side.
Yeah.
If it doesn't water hammer, this chunk of methane hydrate compresses all that lovely natural gas past the ignition point where it ignites.
That's where you get the underground pipeline explosions, right?
Oh,
Yep.
yes.
And then it blows the pig back the other way.
Oh, no, it blows everything back the other way.
So it's a dietary problem, you're saying?
Yeah. Which is why I really want to listen to the recordings,
Oh, yeah.
because those recordings will tell us exactly what happened in what sequence.
In the U.S., we don't stop pipelines, and we constantly monitor.
Yep.
We ping them, we constantly monitor, and as soon as we get any methane slurry, woo, time to fix things. Like Jim says, you get methane slurry, you start running the pig.
Yep.
You get any rime buildup, start running the pig. You get any pinging, run the pig, or
Yep.
shut it down. Either way. The Russians have had these pipelines. I mean, they're hundreds of miles long, full of hundreds of millions of cubic meters of natural gas just sitting there. It's a giant, hairy fucking snowball from end to end.
Yep.
And what happened was somebody, Gazprom,
Matt, it is the cleanse before colonoscopy. Trust me.
what happened, somebody, Gazprom said they're about to have a really cold winter in Europe. We could use this, make sure the pipelines work, because so that we can send them gas and be their savior as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And somebody at the pipeline opened it, found methane slurry, went, holy shit, ran around in circles for a while, and then started trying to remediate it without telling anybody.
Yeah.
And we got a boom. And since depressurizing this properly takes weeks, repressurizing it does too.
Yeah.
So one of them went up, they went, holy shit, and tried to stop the second one. And 17 hours later, it went up too.
Well,
No
and
shit.
the other problem is you also now have 2 more leaks up in Swedish water space, which we know are not, in fact, what was the euphemistic term that was used? Sabotage? I think
Yeah,
that was
those
it.
aren't sabotage. I think 2
Yeah.
more leaks just cropped. Well, no shit.
Yeah. What happens is
With
These
all that
pipes
pressure going back and forth, yeah.
are designed to have pressure on them. That is how they maintain their shape. When you put them down in a water column, you are adding effective weight to that pipe.
10 atmospheres, 10.8 atmospheres at the deepest across the Baltic.
So 10.8 atmospheres is, yeah. And what it is doing is it literally will crush the pipe. When you crush a pipe, what happens? You get leaks. You get pressure leaks. Pressure leaks in a cold pipe will actually peel the pipe open.
Well, not with that, but if you got methane hydrate built up to the point it's not a blockage, you don't have a plug, but you've got narrowing like in your coronary arteries.
Yeah.
You've got narrowing as the pressure waves back and forth from the whatever happened, that pressure gets diverted, increased, decreased velocity, and it starts popping things everywhere.
I guess the only way we'll know for sure is when they can get an ROV
Mhm.
down there and film the site of the leak or the
Mhm.
break. If it's
Yeah.
blown inward, it was an explosive from
Yeah.
outside. If it's outward blowing, if it's blowing from the inside out,
Yeah.
then
Well, I want to see that because I want to look in about 150-foot radius for
Yeah.
a pig.
Yeah.
If there's a pig,
It'd be a little more than 150 feet, 150 yards. Yeah, Rick, most likely operator error, bad operations. The interesting part, I was chasing some media in Europe this morning, and there was an interesting report that the Russians had been in the area with both surface ships and submarines in the last week.
it's the Baltic. It's one of the busiest seas in the.
But the media was reporting that it was an area that was controlled by U.S. intelligence.
Oh, what the fuck?
Mhm.
It's the Baltic. We don't control it.
Yeah, this is like earlier this week, they were trying to blame the USS Kearsarge for doing it. You go look it up. Kearsarge was in the south end of the English Channel, headed into the Atlantic already. They couldn't have done it.
If you call up Google Earth right now, both sites of all three breaks I know of
Yeah,
are posted
four.
on four now are
Yeah.
posted on Google Earth. They've got danger areas.
Yeah.
Call up the shipping lanes.
Yeah.
That is an incredibly busy part of the world.
Well, that's not Bornholm. It's the
Yeah.
actual straits between the east and the west
Yeah.
side of the Baltic.
Yep.
And everything goes through about a 5-mile gap.
Yep.
And I'm here to tell you, trust me on this one, and I've got two folks here that can back me up on this. No special operations guy is going to blow a pipeline in an extremely busy area and then wait 17 hours to blow the other one without having an aneurysm.
Yep.
You don't blow a pipeline, wait 17 hours for everybody to come, oh, what's going on? And watch you set up the second charge.
Yeah. Simo Hayes says. Yeah. The other thing that's interesting is that when you start looking at this from a perspective of what is the worst thing that can happen, now the Russians don't have to worry about sending any fuel to Europe through those pipelines.
And not getting any money, which they're really short of right now.
But they're still feeding Europe through Nord, which is the line that comes through Norway. But that's a single line. And it's in the same area.
Nord 1 and Nord 2 both went up.
There is a third
There's
Nord.
a third one? Okay.
Yeah.
But again, if they did, one, it was stupid. They shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
And again, okay. When the Kursk went kablooey because of a shitty weld on a shitty torpedo, leaking 90% hydrogen peroxide all over a torpedo tube and or torpedo room, it was aggressive by somebody. No, it was a shitty weld on a shitty torpedo.
And 90% of the hydrogen peroxide is aggressive.
Yes.
Very aggressive.
Yep.
So they
As
all
in,
ended.
why do they have that on a submarine?
Because it was fuel for the for a shitty torpedo.
I've actually looked at the recordings, and I've gone back over them with a spectrum analyzer, and you can actually see the first pop and the second boom. They're 200 milliseconds apart, and it was a contained initial explosion. The second explosion was not contained.
Joy was unconfined.
And
So
then-
this is why I want to look at the friggin' tapes.
Then in 1982, that bay, that they had a crane that wasn't working to lower spent reactor fuel into a water pit, and the crane was broken, so they're dropping spent reactor drums all over the place, and that was CIA interference. No,
Yeah.
it was a shitty Soviet crane and badly trained Soviet personnel. Everything is always an aggressive act by the West. No,
Yeah.
y'all are morons. Drive on.
Yeah.
Why are they giggling?
Because
Because
it's nice
you're-
to see our Ian on one of his runs.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus, you get to blame somebody that you want out of your business when they have a weak leader, which we have.
Oh, that's another thing. Everybody's going off about Biden said we'd blow the Nord 2. Biden was last quoted saying, "Popcorn, weasels, run the vanilla hydrates."
Yeah.
Who gives a shit what Biden said?
Yeah.
It's word salad.
Apparently, the conversations that he had prior to Ian hitting Florida were rather interesting.
Yeah, he's been in a mood all week.
Yeah.
Ian contains sharks.
Yeah.
Have y'all seen the meme with somebody took a shark and put a fox face on it and red
Yes.
fur?
Yeah.
People have sent that to me left, right, and center. I always send back. I get to buy all the idiots.
Yeah. Rick. Yeah, that was an even better one. The dead lady that they just had a memorial for, and he wondered why she wouldn't come up to the mic and talk. Yeah, but
The state rests, Your Honor.
yeah,
Nobody cares what the House Plant in Chief says. They really don't.
but the interesting part is the tap dancing with whatever her face is over. Oh well, he talked to the governor of Florida. Yeah, after he talked to the mayor of St. Pete, the mayor of Clearwater, both of whom were Democrats, and the third mayor who was an independent. And it wasn't until, and I'm drawing a blank on her name, the FEMA director got asked, well, when is he going to talk to the governor? That they finally went, oh, maybe we ought to call Governor DeSantis.
Goodness.
Well,
This is not the place to play politics, folks.
Nope.
These are fucking people dying down there. Put the bullshit politics aside and take care of the fucking people. This is the United States of America, or at least it was the last time I looked.
Well, the sheer joy that some of the announcers are looking for opportunities to take DeSantis down with a Katrina-like response.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's just disgusting.
Oh, I love the meme that said DeSantis is a hero again. He's just sent Ian all the way to Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah. I know they're not interested in not playing. They aren't interested in not playing politics, but damn it, this is the U.S. We've got people in trouble, and we need to pull together to help them.
And the Cajun Navy's on the way.
Well, of
Yeah.
course they are.
Well, of course, Florida's doing its own thing. Did you see that video clip earlier today? The guy on roller skates with an umbrella
Yeah.
doing 50 miles an hour down
Oh,
the
yeah.
street.
Florida man lives.
Yes, Florida.
Oh,
man
yeah.
lives
There
indeed.
was one I was showing Sanford last night. Guy out in the wind, huge American flag, and he was wearing. He had like a mask of some kind on, and I'm talking like gas mask,
Yeah.
thing, flag shorts, and
Yeah.
it was just like, okay, Florida man. And now I've seen several like that.
Oh, yeah.
The mask actually makes it easier to breathe in that wind.
That's what I was thinking he was doing.
David, not sure how many were shooting at the storm, but probably one or two.
Oh, it's the one that really you guys are stupid was the prior to storm surge when my namesake sucked all the water out of a bay and everybody went out wandering to see what was going on.
Yes.
Not as many, though.
Morons.
Yeah, well, and the water still has not all come back into the bay.
Darwin.
Now, the fun part of that in Africa was when you got one of those big storms coming through, we called them tropical cyclones
Yeah.
instead of hurricanes, but same thing.
Typhoon, hurricane,
Yeah.
cyclone.
And the seawater would recede madly for a few hours. And everyone would run out into the bay to pick up the fish flopping around.
Yeah.
It was edible.
Yeah.
And then, of course, quite a few of them
And
would not
shellfish.
make it back in time.
Yeah.
Whoopsie.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, evolution in action. Yep.
Darwin lives. Darwin will not
Sharks.
be denied.
Sharks got to eat too. The funniest of all was after Cyclone Des Moines. That was in 87, I think. It brought down all the rivers in Natal in flood, and they all dumped into the Indian Ocean, taking with them several hundred Nile crocodiles,
Yeah.
who are quite capable of living at sea for up to a week or so. They
Yeah.
just swim around and find their own way back to the shore and then go back to the fresh water, which is their habitat.
Yeah.
In this case, the fun part was that the cyclone also dislodged most of the shark nets off the coast.
Yeah.
Oh,
So as soon as it had calmed down, they went down, sent out the boats to relay the shark nets. And there is some wonderful footage of sailors on these shark net boats climbing the mast to get away from crocodiles trying to board the boats. And there was some wonderful video of crocodiles meeting sharks and the resulting fights. And
Big
they were-
fish,
and-
teeth.
yeah, it was pretty even. The
Yeah.
sharks got some crocs, but the crocs got some sharks too.
Oh, yeah.
And for about a week, there was no bathing allowed whatsoever until everything had cleared up. But I've never forgotten those TV images of crews. Yeah. There's a crocodile on the rear deck.
Crocodile going, big fish, teeth.
Yeah, Sean, reports I'm getting from friends down there, as far south as Coral Gables, is power's out. Some places there is no infrastructure left. They're going to have to totally rebuild it. But by and large, they are okay. Some people lost their lanais, or as they're called down there, Florida rooms. And they are grilling, and they've got their generators running. So they are surviving. No, I'm not going to say no serious damage, but
yeah, there's a lot of it. But
there's a lot of damage, no question.
They're saying parts of Fort Myers don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So if anyone's tried to ride it out there, they may not make it.
Yeah, point.
And there are always going to be stupid people who will ignore the evacuation orders.
Or Florida man, but we repeat ourselves.
Yeah.
Past Christian, Mississippi,
Mhm.
Hurricane Camille. The entire apartment building decided to ride it out. They all died.
Yeah.
Connor.
When they came back around, there was no apartment building left. Yes, power companies all around are sending help because they have mutual aid agreements. For those that may or may not remember the flooding in New Orleans, South Louisiana, and in Texas, we had power companies from Florida that I saw from Florida, Wyoming,
Tennessee.
Tennessee, and was it Ohio or Indiana?
Probably
Indiana.
both.
yeah, Oklahoma had a huge line heading down there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they call them tramp linemen. They are, but they aren't. They are on loan from their original power companies. And they get paid by the state of Florida and FEMA. So, no, the idiot up in Boston or wherever the hell he was that was bitching this morning, you're not paying for the people to fix Florida, other than by your taxes, which is about damn time I got used for something constructive.
God knows
Well-
you get enough for your damn dig of your tunnel.
Yeah.
Was it Hurricane Trouble or Sandy?
Yeah.
Came through and stopped the sneeze out of the Northeast.
Yeah.
We sent a lot of folks up there.
Yeah.
Bite me.
Yep. But the other thing is they can't go in and even start work until the wind gets below 35 miles an hour. Because the last thing you want is to be up on a pole in 40-mile-an-hour winds, cut a line loose, and have that line wrap another one or pop you off the pole when it lets go.
Yeah. And of course, you've got the problem of people who have connected generators to their house plugs without having a cutoff switch,
Yeah.
so that they're feeding back into the grid as well as powering their house.
Damn decent.
And the linemen actually lose people to injuries
Yeah.
every single time because of that.
Yeah, Bill, I know Oklahoma guys may be used to it. they don't like it. Catfish driven through a tree from Kortnee. Yeah. Well, that wasn't due to Katrina. That was due to a tornado.
Well, there were tornadoes in this too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they spawn tornadoes.
Oh, yeah.
Hurricanes do.
Yeah. I know back in the 70s, we fought a fire that ended up going all the way down to Orlando. And when we finally got back to the station 3 days later, there was a company from North Georgia sitting in our firehouse providing cover for us.
Mm-hmm.
So they had driven a couple of 100 miles to come backfill. Yeah, catfish do not spawn tornadoes. They are just the poor suckers that get caught in them.
Well, sometimes they do.
Well, what tornadoes do is they drop the air pressure and they will literally pull a tree apart, and whatever goes through it, when the tornado goes through, it'll close back up, and whatever was caught in that tree at the time is still going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen pieces of paper and straws, quote unquote, driven through a tree. Because when I was 10 years old, we had one come through Texarkana, and I sat at the window and went, "Oh, that's neat," as they popped the back fence out.
Bet your parents were thrilled with.
My mother was not happy with me.
Well, yeah, it's all scientific. That's what they call Planck's constant.
Yeah.
No, Peter, back. No.
Oh God. In other news, a number of folks in the National Guard ended up flying in multiple hurricanes, tornadoes, etc. over the years, and they will continue to do that because that is one of their rationales for being. And those folks do a damn good job. Now, we didn't have hurricane parties up here.
Well, I still remember the National Guard helicopters flying around after Katrina in New Orleans. They were notorious for returning fire.
Oh, yeah.
When people on the ground shot at them, they shot back with machine guns. They'd just come out of Iraq.
Yeah.
And that unit was hurriedly pulled up because
Yeah,
they were a little too
They were
trigger
told,
happy.
"Go home."
Yes.
But the word is they accounted for at least 5 or 6 looters.
Which, quite frankly, I have no problem with it.
Me neither.
Had somebody on here, I think it's Brian Nadd. Don't quote me on that. I think it was Brian Nadd, who tracks airplane flights, and had a picture of the airline flights around the hurricane.
Yeah.
And that one C-130 going straight in, and across the bottom was written Leroy Jenkins. I think that was Brian, but don't quote me on
Is
that.
that one of the Hurricane Hunter
Yeah,
planes?
Yeah,
something, yeah.
probably.
Yeah, they apparently allowed a media female on board yesterday for that flight,
Mhm.
and had a camera on her in the back of the airplane when they dropped about 1,000 feet.
Oh, man,
And all you saw was eyeballs.
Yes, they can be interesting.
Oh, it would've been so much
They had, and for the one flight that the Air Force got all the publicity for, NOAA had flown 3 P3 flights into the same hurricane the same day. And one of the guys that you got caught, didn't you? One of the guys that I flew with years ago is still a flight engineer for NOAA. And he said that was one of the roughest penetrations he'd ever done. But yeah, they do.
Are we not doing phrasing anymore?
No,
Go.
they do that stuff. The pucker factor can get up a little bit, mainly when you start losing the engines. You can lose up to 2 in a P3 with no problem. When the third one starts getting wonky, then you get a little bit worried. Yes.
What was that? The B-52 was coming in at request of mercy landing for an engine out.
Yeah.
And an F-16 pilot came on radio and said, "Oh, the dreaded 7-engine landing."
Yeah. And he got told, "Shut up, it's an emergency."
Oh, the dreaded 7-engine landing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, David did. No, that's
Phrasing.
literally what he said, because you do penetrate them, and you try to go in at some altitude that has less turbulence for what that's worth.
Are we doing that's what he said now instead of that's what she said?
No, it's literally.
Poor Jim.
Apparently, they're supposed to go in at several thousand feet minimum because of the downdrafts.
Oh,
Well,
Because
yeah.
otherwise, they might, if they get dropped 1,000 feet in a hurry, they might just hit the ocean.
Yeah, they would. We penetrated at 22,000, but you can lose one or two engines without a problem. When you lose two and the third one starts getting flaky, or when you start getting salt spray on your windscreen at 20,000 feet,
Mm-hmm.
that's when things tend to get a little interesting.
Was it poor Frank's putting in for more PTSD leave?
What are they going to do when they run out of turboprops to fly through it? When all the jets take over? I mean, you couldn't send a 737 through that.
No,
Yeah.
no, it would not make it. They would flame both engines out in a heartbeat.
So what will they do if the P3s go and the Herky birds get a bit too thin on the ground?
Well,
They'll round up a B-52 and
actually what they're using now is they're using a Global Hawk variant,
Uh-huh.
and they're overflying it at 65 to 70,000 feet and dropping stuff.
oh, that's not bad.
Whereas right now, what they do, 5 turning, 4 burning, and 1 prop in the bomb bay. Yeah, Richard, that's about true. But now what they do is you go through with what's called a package, and we actually had drop sons in the P3, and Cedar is.
Mine went in the gutter and I can't pull it back out.
We're all 12 here.
Gutter, I'm not worried about. The sewer trapping, I'm worried about. But you load a package on the airplane. And in a P3, we had what were called drop sons, which are about that big around, about that long, that we would literally turn on and drop. And they would record all the way down to the surface. So you got airspeed, you got temperature, you got pressure gradient. Now, what they've done is they've taken that capability and they put it on this modified Global Hawk. But they're now dropping from 65,000 feet, which means that those drop zones are frozen solid because it takes a while to get up there. Yeah. Arcade, joining the Mile High Club and Hurricane Hunter would be interesting because,
Bruising would be epic.
yeah. And if you're not strapped in right, yeah.
There's
On
no prize.
the other hand, if you're loading packages into airplanes, that's what Jeffrey Epstein's all about.
Yeah.
The one of the panels that I was on at FenCon, the scientist that was sitting next to me specializes in the vomit comet.
Oh, yeah,
And you were talking about the
Master Girl.
plane dropping 1,000 feet. That's immediately what popped in my head is her very graphically going into how they deal with that because, as she said, you're going to throw up.
Yeah. I've seen people throw up once or twice in airplanes. But Vomit Comet is actually a
Parabola.
Mhm.
parabola and it's smoothly flown.
Right, they're doing that on purpose. 'Cause
Yeah,
they want
which is
people to
unlike
zero
what you
PT.
get in a hurricane
Mhm,
or a typhoon
mhm.
because the airplane is going 3 different directions
Right.
and the pilots are frantically trying to hand fly it. And they're usually about a quarter of a second behind the airplane. So they're full deflection
Mhm.
to try to go right as the airplane's going left, and then it snaps back right. And now you're trying to get it back the other way to keep it from rolling completely inverted.
Yeah, I imagine you couldn't get an autopilot fast enough in its responses to
Huh.
take care of that.
No,
No, the
that-
autopilot-
that's-
the
that has to
autopilot
be
looks-
human.
The autopilot senses what's going on and goes, fuck it, I quit.
I'm done. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
I mean, hell, we had autopilots that quit at 200 feet. And the bad problem was they tended to pitch nose down on the airplane.
Oh, no, not at 200 feet, no.
Yeah, that's why we always had 2 people on the stick when we were down low. Yeah, exactly, David. Aircraft moving all 3 axes, attempting to achieve a
These
4th.
comets just going right on by.
I can't see the comments.
I know, I mean,
Probably
what you
just
just
as
said, so.
Yeah, human processing and response time. Yeah, lack of. Because you cannot respond as fast as you cannot respond as fast as Mother Nature is going to screw with you.
The thing is, too, all these people who say, "Oh, get helicopters in as soon as possible." Helicopters can't fly in that kind of turbulence because it will rip the rotors off the
Yeah.
the hubs. It's just not made for it.
Oh,
Well, that's what we did, Jonna.
You were in Asia. I believe you.
Not going to talk about basket chairs.
Clearly, there is some shared experience here that we need to hear about.
no, we don't.
No, walk away.
No, we don't.
I-
No.
There are things that would get us demonetized.
I don't know that we're
not even
monetized.
monetized. Yeah.
I don't know that we're
Right, it would go
monetized.
into negative numbers.
So that's where you got that bedroom sling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
It's roll, yaw, and vibrate. I see somebody else has been in Westpac.
Oh, you haven't lived until you've been under fire in a helicopter going down an African bush road below the level of the trees. And then the corner comes up, 90-degree corner. And the pilot doesn't slow down. He just goes up 10 feet, banks 90 degrees, goes, "Ning!"
You're under fire. You don't slow down.
And you're looking down out of this open helicopter door at the tops of the trees about 6 inches from your boots.
And praying your gunner's belt doesn't let go.
Well, I was going to say, if you weren't strapped in before, you were at least at that point clenched
No, no,
so
no,
hard,
yeah,
anything in
that is
range.
exactly the case. It doesn't matter if you're strapped in or not, you are holding on with your ass. It's, yeah. Let me assure you, it's a very tight hold.
What?
Put it down.
I handed
She gave it to
him.
me. She gave it to me. Squirtle.
It's a handmade pencil I was given, and it's glittery. So
Put it in one piece when you get it back.
anyways, he put it all back together.
I love that the F-bomb is bouncing on the fox's nose.
Yes.
There you go.
The hell? It's fun to watch.
Well, there's people that listen and don't watch the video for whatever reason because they can't. I used to be like that. I would listen to you guys in the earbuds, which was always interesting because you will respond to a comment, but you won't necessarily say anything about the comment. So
Yeah.
if you're just listening, you're like getting half the conversation.
That's why I try to
We
Yes,
now
no,
we
I
try.
know.
read the comment.
Rita's book's selling rather well, actually.
Excellent.
Yes.
Yes, it is. But she's quite pleased and working on the second.
Oh,
Yay.
good. It's a fun read.
And now second guessing herself. Maybe if you're online,
New author.
stop second guessing.
Don't read the comments.
Yeah.
Or the
Not read the
reviews.
reviews.
And if somebody doesn't have a degree in creative writing or more books published, tell them to shut it when they want to offer you advice.
Yeah.
So
And even if they do have a degree in creative writing,
tell them to shut it.
Yeah.
So,
if it feels right, do it.
no, she had
Advice for writers,
Duck.
Ian. Advice for writers.
I have a duck. I have a duck.
There's very little hard rules and a whole lot of
Yeah, exactly.
I have a duck. I have a duck. I'm a duck and I'm not afraid to use it.
Not going there.
He's not eclectic. He's eclectic.
Eclectic.
Like, yeah.
I posted a video and I don't know where it's from. I wish I did. Some guy with a duck launcher. And I really want one of those.
And,
To launch
like
live
actually
or-
ducks.
Yeah, it's
Flipping
you've
ducks.
got these two folks, looks like in a prison fighting, and then the elevator opens up and they both look at the elevator. This guy comes out and goes, thump, whack, and starts hitting people, thump, 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 firing ducks. And I really need it. I really need that thing.
Yeah, Jesse, that's a valid point.
Chris Roche. Roche?
Is extending the deadline for submissions to his anthology. More
Which
details
anthology?
coming.
Which anthology?
I don't know.
is that the
There's so many.
dinosaurs one, Brandon?
I thought that was Manny Ratliff.
Or is that
I thought that was Manny Ratliff.
I'm up to my neck in anthologies right
No
now. I don't
kidding.
think I can do anymore.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah.
Dinos Among Us?
It is the Dino one. Okay.
Yeah.
This is going to be the fourth Malta one, right? Ducks of Malta.
A falcon's a Malta, but nice try. If we get enough.
Take care, Pat.
The Malta stories have fallen off like I kind of figured they would.
Yeah. Manny's involved, but Chris is the main guy. Okay.
I mean, I know RK and I are working on paired stories like we were, but I think with anything like that, you're going to get to a point where enthusiasm dies off, and it might be worth revisiting a year or two later.
I told
Yeah.
people it would, but they wouldn't listen to me.
Yeah, well, we'll just do another release party at LibertyCon.
Yep.
And we'll wind you up about something, get you to rant about it, and then we'll have more sales.
And Cedar does have another book coming out. We're going to press tomorrow, maybe.
Yes, the second volume of Hunting Anthologies.
Oh, coming out tomorrow.
The plan is for it to come out tomorrow. There's a little hang up, and as soon as that gets straightened out, then I can press the big red button for publishing. So I'm afraid to look, but I'm
No,
gonna
Josie.
anyway.
RK says Yoda finger. That sounds vaguely smutty.
Oh, like we haven't been more than vaguely smutty
Apparently,
already.
these are toothpaste toppers. I never would have guessed.
Oh,
Why do we get toothpaste toppers?
No, they were in the bag that Jesse sent home.
Hey, whatever.
Toothpaste.
Thank Jesse for the fidget.
toothpaste stoppers, because you'll do anything to get children to brush their teeth, because
True.
it's not a fun thing
Ah.
to do.
I'd brush my teeth with a
Oh,
toothpaste.
okay. Emma, that makes sense. It's a writing group that
Ah,
Manny,
okay.
Brennan, Chris, and Emma are all in.
Oh, okay.
So they're doing the same thing we are.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Raptor forgot it was Thursday. Boy, have you missed some rants.
Yeah.
We start out with a rant and just got worse from there.
And Differ says, if I start drinking now, does that make 8-year-olds less annoying? No.
You just don't care anymore.
Give
Give
it
it
about 10 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say give it about 10 years.
Yeah. And it doesn't get any better, trust me.
I don't know. Johan this week has done some pretty good things. I mean, because he went up and he drove Sanford home from a medical procedure when Sanford was not all there.
Yeah.
Amusingly enough, it sounds, but yeah, no, he was good for a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
He was a great traveling companion.
He was a little disconcerted when the surgeon came out and wanted to tell him all the details, and Johan's like, "Nope, don't want to. Nope."
Nope, 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 nope.
Did they do this
Don't eat
under
the
a demo
crayons.
anesthetic?
Hey, Twilight.
Hmm.
So
Ah, yeah. Yeah, Differ. That makes it even worse when it's not even your kid.
I mean,
See,
you
if-
sit down to
if-
drink, they might be less annoying.
If you had been a mother 40, 50 years ago, like my mother was,
Hey,
You
Jack
could've-
Daniels in the bottle is a great
Valium.
yeah, spanked both our butts and sent the kid home and then called his mother and he'd have got his butt
Again.
beat again.
if this is the kid I think it is, then the mother is part of the issue.
Oh, one of those.
Yes. Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah, the only problem with the whole launching chickens thing,
Thaw 'em first.
yeah, the
There's
Brits,
a joke there.
it wasn't a joke, sadly.
Yeah, I know.
The Brits made the mistake of not thawing the chickens first and wondered why all the windshields were failing the testing. And they
Impact-
called the
impact testing.
U.S. and said, hey, your chicken gun don't work.
Oh, it works just fine.
And the according to reports, gentlemen on our end of the phone call went, you are unthawing them, aren't you? And was met with dead silence.
Oh, very British. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I had something to announce. I just freaking forgot what it was.
Squirrel.
Squirrels.
New anthology.
Seriously, I will hit you with
No,
a
I
duck.
was not being serious.
I'll hit you with a duck.
Given that my week has been eaten by trying to get this anthology out the door, I am not serious.
Well,
I need to write.
yeah. And I will tell you, you don't always make it through the slush pile. So I'll be putting up a short story that maybe will hit Saturday.
Oh, FoolsCon. FoolsCon, the announcement for FoolsCon's up.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
It's been up.
Shut up.
His squirrel finally noticed.
I should probably point out here, as much as it's kind of a downer note, the Fool's Con is invite only.
Yeah, please don't add extras without.
Forget I said that.
No, it's not that. I mean, it's not that we
Half the
can't.
people on here are coming anyway.
No
Right.
kidding,
It's
right?
not that
Well,
we
yeah.
can't entertain people that would like to have an invitation. It's just that it's not open to
You
Well,
would-
put it
known creepers showing up. and
Yeah.
Put
crashing
it this
the
way: if they
party.
want to show up, Ian and I will help them to unshow up. We might not be terribly polite about how we do that, but
Oh, thank you, Bill. I appreciate that. Anyway, I do have a short story coming out probably this weekend. It did not make it through the slush pile.
It's gonna have a great cover, though.
It's not the cover you were expecting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking forward to this then.
The
'cause I know-
cover has a black dog on it now.
Aha.
My, geez, really? If you're gonna do that, at least screw it on the nose.
It won't
Yeah.
fit. Nose is too big.
Yeah, Mark won't be a problem. But anyway, it's a short story. It takes place down in Georgia about what happens when certain fae decide to investigate and try to take over a trailer park. And they meet up with a bunch of country boys and country girls. Yeah, Rick, I'm also working on RimWorld.
Thibodeau, start a roo. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised you didn't have several jugs of moonshine laid out strategically for the Fae to sample on their way to the fight.
Yeah.
That is the
Well, backhoes are your
Wow.
friend, or when things just blow up when you shoot them.
Swamp.
Either are.
Well, it's
Swamp
not
and
like there were no
marshmallows.
People would land.
Yeah.
so-
Yeah, I'm not going to name any names because the statute of limitations probably has not expired. But let's just say that moonshine triple distilled through an old swimming pool filter will put hair on all sorts of things.
Yes, Miss Count. Starter row is how everything starts. Yeah, especially in Louisiana.
Oh, that's great. Have you met Greg?
Yeah. Greg was at FinCon.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's a FinCon. Fabulous
Yeah.
mustache.
Yes.
Really fantastic mustache.
Yeah.
Mustache has Victoria Cross and 14 confirmed kills.
Yeah.
it was nice to be introduced to him several times.
Yeah, you know things get serious in the trailer park when they put the wheels back on. That's
Time
a
to go.
huh?
Time to go.
Yep. Oh, I know who you are, Greg. Yeah. However, Greg was underdressed for the con because he,
It was kind of monochromatic.
yeah, he did not have the
Alarmingly
proper
monochromatic,
shirt.
Which needs to be a band thing.
One of a few other peace officers I know of that actually carried a sap. I need to discuss that with him next con.
Yeah.
Are those legal in Texas now? Or
Yes.
Sure.
This is a good idea.
I'm waiting for some. I ordered some from a custom maker. I'm waiting for them to show up. They got the
You ordered them in spring.
coof twice.
You
Yeah.
ordered them in spring when the sap was rising, right?
Hey. eh.
We go on to the land of less tornadoes and cheaper Marlboros. Yep.
But I posted Ryan M. Johnson has this fuck around and find out sap, and which is a work of art. I wouldn't hit anybody with it, but it's a work of art. And I posted on Facebook, and he said, "Well, it's just like the one I carried." It's like, hello.
Yes. The things we carry.
Oh my goodness.
Ooh, a Detonics. Sweet.
A butterfly knife? Really? What are you, part Filipino?
It's come up on the live stream before to give Ian something to play with.
Yeah, no kidding. No.
No. If he's him with a butterfly knife, I'll be in the next
I
county.
was playing with a butterfly knife, honest.
I have never seen anybody quicker with a butterfly knife than a little pissed off Filipino lady or girl.
Yeah.
They can have that thing out, cut you, and put it back in her pocket, and you're going, "What just happened? Why am I bleeding?" Uh,
I like butterfly knives.
uh-huh. Yes, Brian. I've also seen the real butterfly knives in action in the Philippines, and it is not a thing of beauty. Trust me, unless you're well away from it.
Isn't it? It is strange how the smaller, wirier races around the world are always the ones who are better at knife work.
Oh yeah,
Where in the African tribes, where they're big beefy guys,
Yeah.
they want clubs and assegais and
Yeah.
shields and all. They aren't nearly as fast close in, and it seems to be a universal.
I don't
concept.
have to be.
But hell,
it's physiology.
Yeah.
It's they're more agile, the slender without as much muscle mass. So there's a lot more agility built in. Whereas the big guys have the muscle mass, but they aren't as quick.
Yeah.
So stay a little further away and hit you until you drop it.
but like the girls down at Chewy's.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Switchblades.
Family Gutierrez Family Restaurant, where the waitresses have prison records, tattoos, and knives.
And switchblades.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
switchblades and
The jeans are so tight you can tell the maker of the switchblade.
yeah.
They went for Microtex. I got to give them credit
Yeah.
for excellent taste in switchblades.
The beauty of it is you take kids there, the kids are safer there than anywhere
kidding.
else in
Yeah.
Wichita Falls. Anyone tries to meddle with them, they're going to get cut.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, Chewy will get to you for a sawed off pool cue
Yeah.
before the waitress cuts you high wide.
That would be luck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point, AJ. Pipsqueaks don't have to accelerate. Yeah, really. Nearly as much mass to reach lethal velocity.
But seriously, if you're ever in Wichita Falls, Gutierrez Family Restaurant, it's the best Mexican food.
Yeah.
But I think it's even Mexican, is it? It's more
No, it's pure Mexican.
yeah,
But
Oh,
it's
yeah,
more
very
central. It's
Central
more central.
Mexican.
Yeah.
It's not Tex-Mex.
And
No.
to find Gutierrez Cafe, go to the barrio, hook a right. When you meet up in the ghetto, there it is.
In this large, multicolored, I think it used to be a gas station or something
Yeah.
like that.
Something.
Pink and green.
Looks ghastly,
It's-
but whoa,
The food is fantastic, and there's a lot of it.
However, let me qualify that. Do not eat the salsa until you have liquid refreshment in your hand.
Yes.
Chewy salsa. Oh, gee, bloody.
God.
Oh my God.
It's hot, but their burritos and tortillas are just.
Yeah,
I think
fantastic.
they've got a grandmother chained back in the kitchen.
Oh,
making them by
I've
hand.
seen her. She
Yeah.
ain't chained. She ain't chained.
Jane.
I watched her frisbee a tortilla at Chewy for running his mouth one day.
Yeah.
Well, you were there.
Yeah.
Chewy sassed Grandma, and Grandma hit him with a tortilla. Whack!
And she's a little abuela.
Yeah, she is.
She's not big, and Chewy is big boy. And she just out the grill and whack it right in the middle of his face. He goes,
She slapped him with a Chewy. Perdóname.
yeah. Oh, yes.
Abuelita.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's noticeable some of the hardest cases in town go there to eat, and they're on their best behavior.
Oh, yeah.
No, wasabi would be Hunan's.
Yeah.
Yes.
Old Hunan's. Chinese place. Not Chewy's is Mexican.
Wasabi is very good, but it's got nothing to do with Mexico at all.
No. Now, we tend to rotate through restaurants just
We're
from force of
foodies.
habit.
We're foodies.
Yeah.
Wasabi won't grow in Mexico. The growing conditions for wasabi are very, very precise.
Yeah.
It has to grow in or right on the edge of running water. It can't get over 80 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's screwed Mexico.
Yeah.
It needs shade.
Yeah.
It's got very precise. There's only like 2 places in the world really where you can grow it: in Japan and Northwest, Pacific Northwest. Those
Really?
are about the only 2 places.
What about English horseradish? That's basically a very similar product.
So English horseradish, when you get wasabi here in the United States, 99% of the time you're getting horseradish.
Yeah.
You're not actually getting wasabi. Wasabi is very expensive.
Yeah.
Even
They
if
just
you buy
dye
it-
it green.
Right. They dye it green, but even if you buy it and it says that it's real wasabi, it's usually a small percentage
Yeah.
of real wasabi and horseradish.
Yeah. Yeah, because when you go to Japan and you get the real stuff and you put the same amount on your sushi that you use here, yes, it's edible CS gas is a good way to put it.
Well, the horseradish is actually much hotter, and wasabi is more nuanced.
It's more nuanced, but it has a longer bite,
Yes.
as
Yeah,
it keeps gnawing on your
Oh,
Yeah,
mouth.
yes.
Raptor, that would
Yes.
be Hunan.
Yeah.
Not Chewy's, Hunan. Guy thought it was guacamole
Yes.
Yeah.
and was busy running his mouth at me when he scooped up a great big thing of wasabi and he shoved it down his pie hole.
How long did it take him to regain speech?
Not to the best of my knowledge, he didn't, because he blew this toothpaste thing of wasabi out his nose, and his wife / spouse like love unit had to help him out of the building.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he was probably turning multiple shades of red, white, red, white, red, white,
And I just smiled at him.
and
You're a moron.
pouring sweat.
And probably the next couple of days he was paying for it too.
Oh yeah, paying for it out of both ends, plus his sinuses.
Because I was, he said basically he gets his big scoop, goes over to the bar, to the sushi bar, gets his big scoop of wasabi. He goes, "Oh, there's guacamole." I'm going, that's not actually guacamole. And he ran his mush at me about how that, something. And it's like, huh. And then for emphasis, he gets a big scoop of wasabi and jams it down his pie hole. And ooh.
We were talking today. We went to get pho at one of our local Vietnamese places, the only one that's decent.
Oh, it's good stuff too.
And Pancho Villa, have fun.
Oh, we got a El Pollo Loco coming to Wichita.
Oh yeah,
What are they?
It's like the Mexican version of Nando's, but not as good. It's grilled chicken with spices.
yeah. So we were discussing eating procedures in the States versus Far East, and how you eat noodles and rice. And Wayne was telling a funny story that he kind of almost eats them.
He bends over the bowl and stuffs his mouth full of noodles,
Until they get too hot or he gets a mouthful.
and he bites them off and starts to chew it. I mean, he's like this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently he was doing that one. He was in there one day doing that, and the Anglo lady at the table next was like, "Ooh," and a little Vietnamese mama saw him behind him was going,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you've ever seen them eat noodles overseas or eat rice, they'll pick the whole bowl, stick it right under their chin,
and
Mhm.
and just
the devil take the
shovel it.
harvest.
Yeah.
It's like Mama son was like, there's a man who is hungry.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Joel. I had friends in high school that were Jewish. I have made the mistake of trying their horseradish at a meal.
You know half of Israel, so it doesn't surprise me.
And
Trained their navy, by God.
Haifa
48, there he was.
Haifa was an interesting town to visit. Interesting airport.
Your Honor, the state rests.
When I'm taxiing by looking at airplanes going, that's an interesting loadout.
That's not the way I sent it to him.
Well, there was something loaded on the airplanes that wasn't supposed to be loaded on the airplanes.
Was it warm?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was when Bush went to CNN and said, if you don't stop giving Iraq intelligence with your reporting, I'm going to shut you off.
No.
Because the Israelis were going, all right, we're locked, we're loaded, we're ready to launch. One more and we go.
I still have fond memories of two sergeants, 101st, tap dancing the Watusi on the back of Geraldo Rivera's head
Yes.
in the Iraqi desert. That's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah. Yes. Yes, Cameron. You're supposed to eat enough to cry. If you aren't crying, you aren't doing Cedar right. I know that, but the first bite, come on, give me a break. Now, if you want to battle with chopsticks, try picking up peanuts.
Watermelon seeds.
Are slippery.
They are slippery, especially with round ivory chopsticks.
Ooh.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, during the first contretemps with Iraq, the first Gulf War, Geraldo Rivera was embedded with 101st and was doing a live broadcast and was drawing a situational map in the dust. Yeah.
Where they were going.
Where they were going, what their objective was, and he disappeared under a pile of chocolate chip camo. It was
And
Got himself rapidly unembedded.
he got thrown
Yes.
out of UH-60 and sent back to the.
and he will never embed with the troops again.
Yeah.
Period. Regardless of who's in charge.
Yeah, I was actually amazed at Israel's restraint when the Scuds started coming.
Oh,
in.
they were
I really thought they were.
that close.
Yeah.
And most of us were going, yes, do it.
Glass top parking lot.
Yep.
Would have solved later problems.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, the Asian master does poppy seeds. Hey, Richard, I saw that done in
Showing off.
yeah, I saw that done in Thailand, and no, I was not even going to try that.
I'm decent with rice, but
Yeah, they, and he wasn't the only one.
he was just the most egregious.
Yeah.
Remembering that when the Marines went ashore on Somalia during
The cameras, yeah,
the SEALs and the Marine Recon went ashore in Somalia during the prior to the Mogadishu buildup and issues there. Billy Jeff's little war. CNN was waiting for him on the beach with cameras and
arc lights, and they almost got their asses blown off.
he should have.
Yep, because Billy Clinton needed something to cover up his little indiscretion with Monica. Yeah, Greg, Shell the Beach. That would have been a good start. Yes, Raptor. I think Ian might have known who that was.
But
Cav Commander had his
Hush.
with their chemical warfare hoods on inside out.
We need to take the stuff off this table. We really do.
No. At this point, it's a running part of
Yeah.
just to change the stuff up and give you new things to play with.
We'll always bring a few more interesting things and keep feeding him down the table.
Yeah, when he hey Jay, when he single-handedly redefined working on the presidential staff, yes. Babies running around, oh, different. I hope it's not a glass jar of peanut butter, but I know y'all are smarter than that, so
It's
Can you
fidgeting.
get glass ones anymore?
I hope not.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. Everything's plastic.
Fidgeting it keeps most of my squirrels pacified. It keeps them occupied so I can actually think.
Yes, Joel, you are absolutely correct. The low death toll was the only thing that kept them from responding with other weapons.
Yes.
So, Peter, you've been awfully quiet this time. Anything to add?
Well, no, I've been watching you and enjoying the view. You know.
Are we not doing phrasing? Why are we not doing phrasing?
And what kind of view are we discussing?
Speaking of Israel and nukes, of course, a lot of people in America don't realize it, but the Vela incident in 1979, which led to South Africa being accused of blowing a nuke, it wasn't South Africa at all. That was Israel.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a standard nuke either, because they had nukes by then for more than 10 years. They were working on thermonuclear devices. And what the Vela incident was an initiator, the little nuke explosion
The
that is
precursor.
set off to detonate the fusion explosion. And I happen to know quite a bit about that, having been around at the time doing various things and having a brother-in-law in the South African nuclear research thing and all the rest of it. And it was a very successful test, and the world never did quite figure out what was going on. And Israel got a lot of cooperation from South Africa there, and South Africa got a lot from Israel in exchange.
Israel, South Africa, and Taiwan had a nice little triumvirate going
Yeah,
there in the
But
70s.
I would not be at all surprised to see thermonuclear weapons ready and waiting in Israel and maybe in Taiwan too.
Yeah.
And the thing is that people consistently underestimate what Israel's got. I've seen estimates this week of, Israel must have about 90 nukes.
Yeah.
They had that in the 70s.
Yeah.
By now, if it's not up in the three figures and significantly well up,
Yeah.
I'll be very surprised. They've got the triad, they've got sub-launch, they've got missile-launched, and they've got air-launched weapons. Oh, they can, if they ever take the gloves off, we are going to have a Middle East that's basically a glass-top parking lot.
Yeah, Iran keeps poking the bear.
Yeah. And Taiwan has been flying intelligence missions into China for years.
Mm. Hey, they had U-2s back in the 60s, didn't they? Well, CIA had them, but Taiwan was flying them.
But the interesting part, and this was related by one of our former P3 guys, P2V guys. He disappeared for a couple of years. Got a set of orders back in the 60s to go do a disassociated tour in the Navy. And he couldn't talk about it until the statute of limitations ran out. So finally, in the late 2018, early 2019, he actually told the story. But he had ended up going over and flying out of Taiwan, flying into China, flying P2Vs covertly, doing intelligence missions.
Well, that sounds fun.
The problem was he came back to the States and got orders back to P2V7s. And according to his records, he had been not flying for 2 years.
Had to reclassify.
So he had to requalify the airplane,
No.
which went surprisingly quickly
As long as you got paid for it.
until his check ride, which had drug on all day. And they were flying out of Alameda, California. And for those of you that may not know, Alameda sits just to the east of the Golden Gate Bridge. So by the time they finally got a bird that would work, it was dark. And
This couldn't possibly end well.
he reverted to type.
Yes.
He took off and immediately went to 50 feet
And stayed there.
and stayed there under the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yes.
Well, there's plenty of room for that.
And the check pilot went, I don't know what the fuck you just did, but this check ride is over and you are passed.
Well,
I
folks,
know nothing, Raptor. I wasn't there. There are no pictures.
what people don't understand is anything that Israel has, Taiwan does too.
Yeah. And what? No, I'm not going there. And we've wasted another hour of your time
Holy
today.
crap.
Actually,
Oh.
an hour and 8 minutes.
31 people watching, 15 have thumbs up us.
Yay.
Hit the like button.
Most of the rest of them are trying to figure out what the fuck are they talking about today?
That's about the norm, isn't it?
Yeah.
That would be different how.
Yeah. Time
Tuesday,
flies when you're off the rails. Yes.
Tuesday, I am clearing the deck, so I can't. My squirrels will be free to run wild. I'm not having anything on the table to mess with.
Sure.
We'll bring a few
Sure.
substitutes.
Yeah. Anyway, folks, thank you. Thanks to all those that joined us today. Cedar, Kortnee, Peter, Jonna.
I'm always here.
Not always. There's been a couple of times.
Yeah, sheer terror running away because I know what's coming.
Can I at least thank you for using your space?
Yeah.
Jeez. Somebody's a little grumpy today.
She's been sassy all the. When I'm deep into writing, and I was writing on my blog, I was writing something about methane hydrates, and my phone kept going off, and I kept cussing the phone. And I had my earphones on so I could cut out ambient noise and actually concentrate because squirrels. But I could still hear the snark.
Anyway, folks, y'all have a good weekend. Be safe. And remember, don't sweat the petty stuff. Don't pet the sweaty stuff.
Be safe, guys.
Especially not
And
after this
stay away from methane hydrates.
Bye.
At least in your pipes and cigars.